The hospital badge hits the kitchen counter with a metallic click that echoes through the house like a warning shot. 12 hours in the trauma unit, 12 hours of other people's emergencies, and I still can't escape to my own bed. Nina will be hungry. She's always hungry at exactly 6:47 p.m., just like she's been every day for 11 years. I'm reaching for the freezer when Dad's voice cuts through the silence. Nora. Dining room. Now. Not a request. Never a request in this house. The microwave hums its countdown as I shuffle toward what I already know will be an execution. The formal dining room setup tells me everything. Mom and Dad at opposite ends like judges, papers spread between them like evidence in a trial I wasn't invited to. Nina sits in her wheelchair on the fourth side, but she won't meet my eyes. Sit, Dad commands, his signet ring catching the overhead light as he slides papers toward me. The letterhead screams caregiver agreement in bold black type. My name appears throughout the document. Responsible party. Financial obligations. Legally binding. You'll liquidate your 401k, Mom says, voice soft as silk over steel. Create a care fund. Then $2,000 monthly. The room tilts. $2,000? Every month? Dad leans forward, predatory. You make 70 grand as a nurse. We're only asking for half. Only. As if they're doing me a favor by leaving me with poverty wages. My student loans? Don't hide behind excuses. Mom's mask slips, revealing something cold and calculating underneath. 60,000 in retirement funds. Cash it out. I press my shaking hands flat against the table. This seems sudden. Nothing sudden about taking responsibility for your sister, Dad snarls. You put her in that wheelchair. Now we're putting it in writing. The familiar knife of guilt twists deeper, but this time something else stirs beneath it. A question I've never dared ask, why now? Why the formal agreement after 11 years? Sign today, file tomorrow, Dad continues, sliding a pen toward me like a weapon. I remember 16-year-old me, sobbing at Nina's bedside, I'll always take care of you. This is all my fault. But looking at these papers, at their carefully rehearsed performance, at Nina's continued silence, something feels wrong. Choreographed. I need time to think. Dad's eyebrows shoot up like I've committed blasphemy. There's nothing to think about. Just a day or two. Mom's voice drops to a whisper that somehow feels more threatening than shouting. Sign now, or we tell everyone at Denver Memorial how you're abandoning your paralyzed sister. Your supervisor, your colleagues, Pastor Miller. Everyone will know what kind of person you really are. The threat hangs in the air like smoke from a gun barrel. They know exactly how I've built my reputation, how the hospital respects my dedication, how the church sees me as a martyr. My fingers close around the pen. I hold it above the signature line, my entire future balanced on the edge of a blade. Then I set it down. Tomorrow, I say, standing on unsteady legs. I'll give you an answer tomorrow. Dad starts to protest, but I'm already walking away, feeling their eyes burn holes in my back. In my bedroom, I lock the door and lean against it, heart hammering. For the first time in 11 years, I've said no to them. And for the first time in 11 years, I'm starting to wonder what they're really afraid of. I scroll through my contacts, finding a name I haven't called since college. The phone rings 3 times. Nora. It's been forever. Are you okay? Evelyn's voice, sharp, competent, no nonsense. Everything I need right now. I whisper, my family has been lying to me for 11 years. And I think they're scared I'm about to find out why. The coffee shop feels like neutral territory, but I still check over my shoulder twice before sitting down. 3 days since I refused to sign their papers, and the house has been a minefield of silent threats and loaded glances. Evelyn slides into the booth across from me, and I barely recognize my college friend. Gone are the wild curls and easy laughter. This woman wears power like armor, tailored suit, sharp eyes, briefcase that thuds against the table with authority. "You look like hell," she says without preamble. 12-hour shifts plus dodging my family will do that. I attempt a smile that feels more like a grimace. She opens her briefcase with twin clicks that sound like bullets loading into a chamber. "I found the police report." The manila folder she places on the table might as well contain a loaded gun. Either my freedom or my destruction lies inside these pages. "How bad?" My voice comes out small. Instead of answering, she turns the folder toward me. "Read it yourself." The words blur at first, then snap into focus with devastating clarity. Location: Westridge Road, Maple Township, 3.8 miles from Reed residence. Time: 3:42 p.m. Vehicle: 1998 Honda motorcycle driver, Jason Miller, age 17. Passenger, Nina Reed, age 14. This can't be right. My voice sounds foreign to my own ears. They told me she was trying to catch the bus. That she was hit crossing the street because I wasn't there to walk her. Evelyn's fingers cover mine. They lied, Nora. About everything. I flip through witness statements, each one driving the knife deeper. Female passenger laughing, arms wrapped around driver's waist. A motorcycle attempted to beat a yellow light. The delivery truck had a green signal when the collision occurred. 11 years of guilt. 11 years of sacrificed dreams, of working myself to exhaustion, of apologizing with every breath for a crime I never committed. Nina was joyriding with her boyfriend, Evelyn continues, voice clinical. Jason Miller. Basketball player. Your parents forbade her from seeing him. The bathroom tiles are cold against my knees as I empty my stomach. When I return, Evelyn has ordered fresh tea and spread more documents across the table. The hospital records, I whisper. The ones I was too emotional to see. Your parents started constructing the lie immediately. Right there in the trauma room, while doctors worked on Nina, your father was already spinning the story about your responsibility. The betrayal cuts deeper than any scalpel. Why would they do this? Control. Money. Power. Evelyn pulls out financial documents. Your grandmother's inheritance, $20,000 that disappeared into emergency medical expenses already covered by insurance. Your delayed college education, your chosen career path, even where you live, all carefully orchestrated. I stare at the evidence of my stolen life, and something cold and hard crystallizes in my chest. Not just anger. Something sharper. More focused. They've been planning this formal agreement for months, I realize. They're scared of something. Evelyn nods grimly. Your parents are drowning financially. Second mortgage, credit debt, your father lost his job. They need your money to survive, but they're terrified you might discover the truth and cut them off. What do we do? For the first time, Evelyn smiles, and it's not entirely reassuring. We gather evidence. We document every lie. And then. She closes the folder with finality. We destroy them systematically. The words should horrify me. Instead, I feel something I haven't experienced in 11 years, power. I want them to pay for every year they stole from me, I hear myself say. They will, Evelyn promises. But we're going to do this right. Carefully. Completely. When we're finished, they won't just lose control over you, they'll lose everything. As we plan my parents' destruction over cooling coffee, I think about that 16-year-old girl crying at Nina's bedside. She deserves justice. And I'm going to give it to her. Marcus Bennett looks like every investigative journalist from every thriller movie, rumpled blazer, sharp eyes, the kind of predatory focus that makes guilty people confess their sins. He spreads photographs across Evelyn's conference table like a dealer showing his hand. Your parents have been busy, he says, tapping a surveillance photo of Dad entering a bank. Second mortgage application, 6 months ago. With your forged signature. I study the signature that isn't mine, recognizing Dad's heavy-handed pressure points even in forgery. How did you get this? Bank employees talk when fraud investigators start asking questions. Marcus grins. Especially when those investigators have press credentials. Evelyn adds another folder to our growing collection. Jason Miller agreed to a recorded statement. He's been carrying guilt about this for 11 years, thinking he was protecting Nina by staying quiet. What did he say? That your parents threatened him with criminal charges if he ever mentioned the motorcycle. That Nina begged him not to tell anyone she was riding without a helmet. She was worried about messing up her hair for some party. The casual vanity of it, the normal teenage stupidity, somehow makes the deception worse. This wasn't some tragic accident requiring lifelong penance. It was just life. Messy, ordinary, blameless life that my parents twisted into a weapon. There's more. Marcus slides over bank statements. Your monthly contributions? Less than 40% actually went to Nina's care. The rest paid their mortgage, credit cards, even a vacation timeshare in Florida. The systematic nature of their theft takes my breath away. This wasn't desperate parents making hard choices. This was premeditated fraud stretching back years. We need more than financial records, I say, surprising myself with how clinical I sound. We need to prove they knew the truth from the beginning and chose to lie. Evelyn nods approvingly. Your Aunt Laura. She was at the hospital when Nina was brought in. 20 minutes later, Laura's voice crackles through the speakerphone. I overheard them in the hallway. Your mother said, don't let anyone know she was with that boy. We'll say Nora was supposed to walk her to the bus. And your father answered, Nora's always been responsible. She'll accept it was her fault. The calculated cruelty of it, choosing their 16-year-old daughter as the sacrifice, makes my hands shake with something beyond anger. They planned this, I say. From the moment they saw Nina in that hospital bed, they planned to destroy my life to protect their reputation. And their wallet, Marcus adds. Nina's insurance settlement was substantial. But guardian-controlled funds have restrictions. Money flowing from a guilty older sister has no oversight. By evening, we have everything: police reports, witness statements, financial records, recorded confessions. Enough evidence to expose 11 years of systematic fraud and psychological abuse. But as I drive home, a darker thought takes root. Exposure isn't enough. Public humiliation, legal consequences, they're not equal to what was stolen from me. 11 years of guilt, dreams deferred, a life half-lived in service to a lie. They took everything. Why should they keep anything? That night, I didn't go straight to sleep. Instead, I sit at my laptop, researching asset protection laws, insurance fraud penalties, elder care costs. If they're so worried about their financial future, perhaps it's time to give them something real to worry about. By dawn, I have a plan that goes far beyond justice. I'm going to give them exactly what they deserve. The hospital cafeteria buzzes with the usual morning chaos, but I barely notice. I'm studying Patricia Lambert's legal letterhead, the demand letter that arrived yesterday. My parents have hired the city's most aggressive family law attorney. They're trying to scare you into compliance, Evelyn says, sliding into the chair across from me. But her usual confidence seems strained. Guardianship petition, I read aloud. They're claiming I'm mentally unstable due to work stress and seeking legal authority over Nina's care. It's a masterful counterattack. Paint me as the unstable one while positioning themselves as protective parents forced to intervene. Classic manipulation escalated to legal warfare. Can they win? Not with our evidence. But legal battles are expensive and unpredictable. Evelyn hesitates. There's something else. Marcus found hospital security footage from 11 years ago. She slides a tablet across the table. The grainy black and white video shows the trauma bay on the day of Nina's accident. I watch my 16-year-old self pacing outside Nina's room while doctors work, completely unaware of the conspiracy being hatched inside. Keep watching, Evelyn says. At timestamp 1642, Dad exits Nina's room and approaches someone off camera. The audio is poor, but I can make out fragments. Needs to believe, her responsibility, won't question. He's talking to Pastor Miller, Evelyn explains. Setting up the narrative before you even knew Nina would survive. The premeditation of it steals my breath. While I sat terrified that my sister might die, Dad was already orchestrating my destruction. My phone buzzes. Hospital administration. Miss Reed, we need you to come in immediately. There are serious allegations about your professional conduct. The ice in my chest spreads outward. What allegations? Theft of controlled substances. Please report to HR within the hour. They've escalated beyond legal threats to professional destruction. If I lose my nursing license, I lose everything: income, career, identity. The systematic nature of their attack is almost impressive in its thoroughness. But they've made one crucial error. They've pushed me past fear into something much more dangerous. After clearing my name with hospital security, cameras in medication areas make theft accusations laughably easy to disprove. I call Marcus from my car. How fast can you dig into their medical histories? Give me 6 hours. Why? Because people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. And I'm about to start hurling boulders. By evening, Marcus has delivered a gift that makes me smile for the first time in weeks. Dad's been seeing a psychiatrist for anxiety and depression following his job loss. Mom's been prescribed anti-anxiety medication and has 3 DUI arrests that were quietly plea bargained down to reckless driving. But the real treasure is Nina's medical records from the past 5 years, documenting treatments that never happened, equipment never delivered, therapy sessions that existed only on paper. Insurance fraud. Systematic, documented, prosecutable insurance fraud. They created an entire fictional medical history for Nina, Marcus explains. Inflated her needs to maximize settlement payments while pocketing the difference. How much? Conservative estimate? $200,000 over 5 years. I lean back in my chair, finally understanding the full scope of their desperation. This isn't just about controlling my income. It's about covering up crimes that could send them to prison. What do you want to do with this? Evelyn asks. I think about that 16-year-old girl, sobbing at Nina's bedside, accepting responsibility for something she didn't do. About 11 years of guilt, sacrifice, and manipulation. About a future that was stolen before I even knew it existed. I want to watch them burn, I say. And for the first time in 11 years, I mean every word. Sunday dinner at the Reed family house. One last performance before the curtain falls forever. I arrive precisely at 6 p.m., timing calculated to the second. Through the kitchen window, I can see them arranging themselves in the dining room, Mom adjusting place settings with nervous precision, Dad reviewing notes like a lawyer preparing closing arguments, Nina positioned at the head of the table where she can be displayed to maximum emotional effect. They've invited witnesses, Uncle Robert, Aunt Patricia, Pastor Miller, and their attorney. An intervention designed to shame me into signing away my life through public pressure and moral judgment. They have no idea they're attending their own funeral. I pause at the front door, feeling the weight of the recording device in my pocket, the manila folders in my briefcase, the phone that will summon reinforcements with a single text. 11 years of careful planning on their part, destroyed by 3 weeks of methodical preparation on mine. The doorbell's chime sounds like a death knell. Nora. Mom's smile is bright and artificial as she ushers me inside. Everyone's here. The dining room has been transformed into a tribunal. Extra chairs circle the table, water glasses and notepads set out like some twisted corporate board meeting. Dad stands at the head, shoulders squared in his Sunday suit, projecting the authority he's used to control me for over a decade. Thank you all for coming, he begins, voice thick with practiced sincerity. This is difficult, but family matters require family solutions. I scan the assembled faces as he distributes packets outlining my supposed obligations. Uncle Robert and Aunt Patricia looking uncomfortable but sympathetic. Pastor Miller with his Bible placed precisely before him. The silver-haired attorney with his expensive suit and predatory smile. And Nina, avoiding my eyes, playing her role in their final performance. Nora has been responsible for Nina's care since the accident, Dad continues. Recently, she's decided to abandon that responsibility. Shocked murmurs ripple through the room. The accusation lands exactly as intended. That's not what's happening, I begin, but Dad raises his hand. Please, let me finish. His voice drops, thick with manufactured emotion. We've covered Nina's expenses as best we could, but my health issues have made working impossible. First lie. He was fired for incompetence. Mom takes over seamlessly. These are just from the past 6 months. She opens a binder of medical bills. Without Nora's contribution, Nina's therapy stops entirely. Second lie. Insurance covers most treatments. Nora makes $70,000 as a nurse, Dad adds, tears glistening on command. We're only asking for $2,000 monthly. She has retirement savings she could access for the initial care fund. Uncle Robert turns to me, disappointment etched across his features. How could you abandon your sister like this? The moment I've been waiting for. I stand slowly, feeling every eye in the room focus on me with expectant judgment. Before anyone signs anything, I say, my voice carrying a calm I don't entirely feel, I'd like you all to meet someone. Right on cue, the doorbell rings. Mom frowns, clearly irritated by the disruption of their carefully orchestrated intervention. Who could that be? My attorney, I answer simply, watching her face drain of color. And an investigative journalist who's been helping me uncover what really happened 11 years ago. Dad's hand tightens around his pen. This is a private family matter. It stopped being private when you invited the church elders and your lawyer. I walk to the front door without waiting for permission. Evelyn enters first, every inch the professional predator in her charcoal suit. Marcus follows with his recorder and press credentials visible. Behind them, Aunt Laura, Mom's younger sister who worked at the hospital when Nina was admitted. What is she doing here? Mom demands, rising from her chair. Supporting the truth, Aunt Laura replies, moving to stand beside me. Pastor Miller looks bewildered as Evelyn introduces herself. I'm Evelyn Carter, representing Nora Reed. I understand you've been discussing a caregiver agreement under false pretenses. This is absurd, Dad sputters, his practiced composure cracking. Nina has been paralyzed for 11 years because Nora failed her responsibility. Everyone here knows the story. That's the story you told, I correct him, feeling strangely calm now that the moment has arrived. But it's not what happened, is it, Dad? Marcus sets up his recorder at the table's edge. Martin and Diane Reed, I'm Marcus Bennett with the Denver Chronicle. I've been investigating your financial arrangements regarding your daughter's care. Mom's face contorts with fury. How dare you bring strangers into our home to attack us after everything we've done for Nina? After everything you've done? The words escape as a harsh laugh. You've spent 11 years making me believe I destroyed my sister's life while stealing my inheritance, my career prospects, and half my paycheck every month. The room falls silent, relatives exchanging uncomfortable glances. I turn to face the assembled family. Before anyone signs anything, there's something you all need to see. Evelyn distributes manila folders to each person present. I catch Nina's eye across the table, seeing fear and something else, perhaps relief. Nina, I say softly, after 11 years, don't you think it's time for the truth? Tears fill her eyes as she looks up. The folder before her contains what the others don't, photographs of her with Jason on his motorcycle, taken the morning of the accident. I've carried this for so long, she whispers. Pastor Miller opens his folder, color draining from his face. This police report says the accident happened miles from any bus stop. On a motorcycle. Nothing whatsoever to do with missed buses or stray cats, I confirm, watching my parents' carefully constructed world begin its death spiral. Aunt Laura's voice trembles as she speaks up. I was there that day. I overheard Martin telling Diane to make sure no one knew Nina was with that boy on the motorcycle. They created the bus stop story before Nina even went into surgery. The silence that follows is suffocating. My parents sit frozen as their elaborate construction implodes under the weight of documented truth. Nina's voice breaks the stillness, small but growing stronger. I skipped the bus to ride with Jason. Mom and Dad said Nora would be blamed because she was supposed to be watching me. Her eyes meet mine across the table. I let them do this to you. For 11 years, I stayed silent. Uncle Robert's face hardens as he looks at Dad. You manipulated all of us. Pastor Miller stands, his earlier sympathy replaced by moral outrage. This betrayal goes against everything our community stands for. But I'm not finished. Not even close. Marcus, I say, would you mind sharing what you discovered about their insurance claims? Marcus opens a thick folder with theatrical flourish. Over the past 5 years, Martin and Diane Reed have filed fraudulent insurance claims totaling approximately $200,000. Treatments that never happened, equipment never delivered, therapy sessions that existed only on paper. The attorney, their attorney, pushes back from the table. I was not informed of any insurance irregularities. This representation is terminated immediately. Mom makes a sound like a wounded animal. Dad's mouth works soundlessly, his practiced persona disintegrating in real time. There's more, I continue, savoring each word. The forged mortgage application using my signature. The diverted inheritance from Grandma. The systematic theft of my retirement contributions. I pull out my phone and dial a number I memorized weeks ago. Detective Morrison? It's Nora Reed. I'm ready to file those fraud charges we discussed. My parents finally find their voices, but it's too late for words. Dad makes a move toward the door, but Marcus steps smoothly into his path. I'd like to ask a few questions about the church fundraising account, Marcus says pleasantly. And the vacation timeshare in Florida. The transformation in the room is complete. These people who once looked at me with pity and disappointment now stare at my parents with disgust and betrayal. The community they manipulated for over a decade finally sees them clearly. Pastor Miller's voice shakes with righteous fury. The church board will investigate every dollar donated for Nina's care. Detective Morrison will be here in 20 minutes, I announce, ending my call. I suggest anyone who wants to avoid being considered an accessory should leave now. The room empties quickly. Uncle Robert and Aunt Patricia flee without goodbyes. Pastor Miller storms out, muttering about violated trust. The attorney has already disappeared. Only family remains, my parents, Nina, and me. Dad tries one last manipulation. After everything we've done for you. Everything you've done to me, I correct. But that ends today. I walk to Nina's wheelchair, kneeling beside her. I never abandoned you, I say gently. And I never will. But I won't carry their lies anymore. Nina grabs my hand, squeezing tightly. Can you ever forgive me? There's nothing to forgive. We were both their victims. As sirens wail in the distance, I feel the weight of 11 years lifting from my shoulders. My parents sit in their dining room, surrounded by the wreckage of their deception, waiting for consequences that are finally coming. Justice isn't just about punishment. Sometimes it's about truth. Sometimes it's about freedom. And sometimes, when you've been pushed far enough, it's about watching everything burn. 6 months later, I stand in Nina's new apartment, watching her pack for her first semester at the University of Colorado. The insurance settlement, properly managed this time, has given her genuine independence for the first time since the accident. Disability Advocacy Program, she says, holding up her acceptance letter. I want to help other families navigate the system our parents exploited. The Reed Sisters Foundation launched last month, funded by recovered assets from our parents' fraud conviction. We've already helped 5 families protect vulnerable members from financial abuse. My phone buzzes with a text from Evelyn. Mom and Dad's sentencing hearing moved to Tuesday. 5 to 7 years, likely. I should feel satisfaction, but mostly I feel empty. Not sad, not angry. Just done. Any regrets? Nina asks, watching me read the message. Only that it took me 11 years to ask the right questions. Through her window, I can see the campus where I'll finish my nurse practitioner degree next year. The apartment I can finally afford near the hospital where I now work reasonable hours for full pay. The life I should have had at 25, I'm claiming at 36. Do you think they'll ever understand what they did? Nina wonders. Understanding requires accepting responsibility. They're still blaming everyone else. My parents send letters from prison occasionally, not apologies, but attempts at manipulation disguised as regret. They're forwarded directly to the prosecutor as evidence of ongoing victim intimidation. Some people never change. Some people choose destruction over accountability, right to the very end. But their choices are no longer my burden. As I help Nina load her car, I think about that 16-year-old girl who accepted guilt for a crime she didn't commit. She deserved justice, and she finally got it. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just living well. Sometimes it's making sure the truth can never be buried again.